Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of PlovCast, a series of casual discussions led by students from different universities. Today we have 4 guests, first of which is Abdulaziz Sobirov from Harvard University. I'm Jasmine from Wesleyan University, and this is Timur from Cornell University, and Gulrukh from the University of Pennsylvania. Today we'll be talking about several different topics, and the first one to start off our discussion is your admissions journey. So, in a few words, how would you summarize your admissions journey?
Okay, so if I had to summarize the journey overall, I'd say that from 8th grade, I started participating in activities that I was purely interested in. At that time, I didn't have anything in mind about admissions, colleges, nothing like that. That didn't even cross my mind. I was just signing up for stuff that I was genuinely interested in, such as like school government and Zakovat and stuff like that, and like participating in some Olympiads from math and science. And then comes 10th grade, and I was like, I'm probably going to apply to American universities. So I started getting more into that. I noticed that some of my classmates were like studying for the SAT. So I was like, I probably have to study for that too. So I started studying for the SAT first. I took the SAT. And then I knew that I have to improve my extracurricular activities. So I started getting more involved with day-to-day school life, with the school government, with organizing certain events. And then I got more serious in Zakovat, and I started participating for our like school, quote-unquote, varsity Zakovat team, you could call it. And yeah, I was just continuing doing what I was purely interested in. I wasn't doing stuff for just admissions itself. And then I knew that I had to keep a high GPA. I studied for my A-levels, and then I applied. So that's my journey summarized.
Nice. I think mine is very similar to Abdulaziz because we actually went to the same school. And so a lot of our activities kind of cross, right? But for me, most of the stuff that I did in order to prepare for admissions was intuitional. Like, I didn't really know that something was necessary, but I had a feeling that it was, simply by observing like other people or just questioning like, what should I do to apply to this place? What should I do to study in the US, for example, or in some other country? And so I just started researching, doing a lot of research about different universities, like going through different websites, forums that would let me understand what I'm dealing with more. And then because I already had activities, just like Abdulaziz said, like I was just doing stuff that I liked, I concentrated on trying to write better essays and basically spent most of my 10th to 11th grade preparing for the unis. I guess another factor is that a lot of people I knew were applying for universities abroad already, so it wasn't that hard to start for me.
Well, I also went to Tashkent Presidential School, just like Abdulaziz and Gulrukh. Well, similar to them, I was also engaged in activities that I found really interesting and fascinating. The only difference I'd say is that after grade 9, I left Tashkent Presidential School for UWC East Africa. So like in the past 2 years, I've been pursuing my IB diploma and living in an international school. We're also continued to engage in those fascinating activities. Well, I took SAT and then applied, and then I got in.
Cool. I think that's a shared fact about all of us. I did not graduate from the presidential school. I actually graduated from a government school, but I did also share that experience of doing activities for just purely out of enjoyment and out of interest for those activities and not necessarily for admissions. And also 9th, 10th, 11th grade, I spent on different projects in which I'm still involved now after getting in. And for me, it was a little weird because I thought that I was going to get admitted through a tennis journey, but in the end, we still decided to follow a more traditional path of submitting an actual application rather than getting recruited. But in the end, I think it was all worthwhile, and I'm grateful for the tennis experience too. Our next topic is education. What does education mean to you?
What does education mean? I feel like it's a very broad question, and also connecting it to what universities want, I feel like an education that they're looking for and that they provide is basically one where you explore topics that you are interested in and you try to connect the topics to seemingly unrelated fields in other areas so that you could become like a more knowledgeable person. So for me, education is basically finding out what you're interested in, which is also a journey in itself, because no one like is born knowing that they're going to pursue this or that. So one part of education is exploring different fields and finding out what you're genuinely interested in, and then narrowing it down to a few subjects that you're most curious about, and then trying to explore your curiosity in them as much as possible. So in my opinion, that's what education is.
Well, like it might sound cliche, like, but I think that education is more, like, not that I disagree with you, but just like to add on to what you've already said. I think it's more about like developing skills, like learning skills, like the ability to learn something really quickly, and the ability to synthesize information that is already available. So, like, in other words, is the ability to create new knowledge, you know? Because, well, like, as humans, like, develop further and further, there'll be more and more knowledge, and obviously it's not possible to know everything. And especially in the digital era, when a lot of the information is easily accessible online, I think what makes a good education is the ability to quickly fetch the information that you need to achieve a certain goal. Synthesize it, so like first of all, like look at it like critically, understand like if it's skewed, if it's biased, and if it's relevant to that specific task that you are engaged in, and in the end use that information to either draw like relevant conclusions or do something else with it that will help you achieve your goal, or like create new knowledge that others can look at and use to, I don't know, do something that they need to do.
Just to add on to all those things, I think education is more so about nurturing your mind. So information, knowledge, skills, all of that obviously important, but I always think of those things as kind of a path or a gateway to just advancing both your intellectual curiosity and just who you are as a person. So obviously that can be done at home or like on your own. There's plenty of ways to receive information on your own, right? But I think specifically education provides you with a higher quality of it and provides you with better circumstances, better tools, better ways to improve yourself, and also in a very short period of time. Like 3-4 years for me is a short period of time. And also to set you apart, like as much as we don't like to discriminate or anything, I just think that having an education sets you apart from other people, which helps you in your job search, which helps you in just your future pursuits.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and I think it's a fact that's often overlooked. Like, viewing education is not just like an end point, like you get into a good university and you achieve that, but that university itself you should view it as a means to achieve something bigger, as a tool and not just your goal.
I think Timur mentioned a really good point about like education not just being gaining information, but you're getting educated to create new information. So like if we just see it as a way where we just collect knowledge and just learn it, but don't see like an endpoint of actually contributing to that knowledge by like maybe drawing conclusions that haven't been drawn before from the information that you already have. So I feel like that's like a big part of what education should be and how it should be looked at.
And I think also that like education is not only about college or like universities or schools. So like we can define that as like formal education, but there's also other types of like education that's, I don't know, maybe like you go to like to a craft school, like go anywhere else, and I mean like obviously we all are pursuing like higher ed like education. We all want to go to a college here, but I feel like if you want to get the most out of your college experience, you first need to question, why do I want to go to college? Do I actually need it? And I feel like that a lot of people just say, okay, like college is, I must go to college. And well, I think it is the best path for a lot of people. But if you cannot question it properly, if you cannot find the, if you can't arrive to that idea from the first principles, then you're not ready to go to college yet, because you just, waste that precious time that you have there.
Yeah, isn't that why exactly, the best universities, they ask, why us? Why do you want to go to college? Why this major?
I feel like that question is more to understand if someone is a match or not.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it's, of course they want to know if you're a match to the college.
Yeah.
But I also feel like they still want to see if you want to study the major that you're interested in, if they're asking what major you want to study. Or if there's anything, a question which asks, why do you want to study at college at all? Maybe not just colleges, but maybe when you're applying to summer programs or when you're applying to research programs as a high schooler, some of them really ask you, why do you even want to do this? And a lot of people don't know why they're doing it. They just see that everyone else is doing it. Oh, this person is doing a research project, so I must do a research project too. This person is applying to Ivies, so I'm going to blindly apply to Ivies, even though I have no idea if they have the facilities that I need. And maybe there's a university in Italy which matches my interests more, but I don't care about that. Everyone else is applying to Ivies, so I'm going to apply to Ivies too. So a lot of youth in Uzbekistan are not really holding themselves accountable, I'd say, and not really scrutinizing themselves and their actual interests.
Yeah, I don't think there's reflection going on much, right? Yeah.
I think the shared philosophy among general youth is if I go abroad, it's just going to help me. And if I apply to this program,
yeah, exactly.
It's just going to help me.
So туда-сюда миллионер, that's it.
Yes. And what do you guys think about liberal arts education?
Can I start?
Yeah, sure.
Because I know someone's going to say negative things.
Who are you looking at?
Why do you be looking?
Okay. Honestly, really, honestly, no jokes. I love liberal arts education. I think it's really the best way to go about education. Okay, there could be and probably are ways better, but out of all the methods that we use nowadays, I think liberal arts education is the best that exists. I think it not only helps you gain skills or gives you information to nurture your mind, whatever I said before, but also makes you proficient in so many things that you won't even notice at first. For example, writing, reading, listening, speaking, and I'm not talking about IELTS. I'm talking about I'm talking about skills, critical thinking, reflecting, again, building arguments, what we talked about, without logical fallacies and so on, just behaving yourself and just kind of reflecting on who you are and what you think about the world. All of it is, to some extent, provided by the liberal arts education. I really like it. I think that more people...
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, I think that more people should go outside of their comfort zone, and that being good at your field and learning it doesn't refrain you from also pursuing other means to learn and improve. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely do agree with that aspect, and I myself am also a supporter for obvious reasons. But I really do think that it fosters interdisciplinary learning that really helps you grow as a general person too, among those skills that Gulrukh mentioned. I do know that we have people here very eager to talk about this.
I don't. It's not that I dislike it. I'm neutral.
Being neutral is the worst. Liberal arts education hates neutral people.
I am neutral. I am very neutral. Because no, if you told me to compare education at a random Uzbek university and then a liberal arts college, I'd say a liberal arts college is much better. because in an Uzbek university, let's say you choose a pathway and then you just study that.
But it's the same in Europe, no?
No. I'm saying just comparing. I'm just saying if compared to like a university in Uzbekistan. So I feel like, liberal arts education is what sells America. It's the selling point why many people apply to American universities. But also, before being like, oh, I'm going to apply to a liberal arts college, a lot of people should even question what a liberal arts college even means. Ask a random person who studies at an LAC, ask them what liberal arts education even means, and I feel like at least like 2 or 3 out of 10 people are not going to be able to tell you what that actually means. So my interpretation of it is that it's basically like where you study a bunch of different fields that you're interested in, and you are kind of specialized in something specific, but not to like a very large depth, and you're still exploring, you still have the freedom to explore many different fields before being extremely specialized in something and going to grad school, I'd say. But my point is that it's not necessarily for everyone, because there are people who already know that they want to specialize in something extremely specific and that they don't want to like spend their time reading like 67,000 books every week and writing 50 essays. It's not to say that you don't have to develop those skills. Every single university, even in America, even if you're studying something very specific like engineering, they still force you to take humanities classes. There are still core requirements, distributional requirements. So no matter if you end up choosing a liberal arts college or a more specific like oriented college, you still end up being able to write and make logical arguments. So if you're really, really interested in just building a more general foundation before going into something specific, then liberal arts colleges are amazing. But I feel like it shouldn't be like a given fact that they are the best possible form of education that you need to get, because there are people who don't want to read 65,000 books a week, and rather they want to like build stuff with their hands and do problem sets.
Yeah, but liberal arts education isn't like reading that many books.
No,
like,
I'm not about just books. I'm just saying like overall. Maybe there are people who don't want to explore different fields.
That foundation you're talking about is basically liberal arts education, like part of it.
Like, to be fair, I've been like on a lot of college fairs, because like a lot of college admission officers and like representatives came to my school, and as you might know, most of the UWC graduates end up at liberal arts colleges because it really like aligns with the mission of the school. And one thing I want to say is that it's not necessarily that you have to explore for the whole duration of your stay at a liberal arts school. It's more that they want you to have that freedom, and obviously like there is some requirement to actually take different courses in different fields. But in the end, I feel like, you know, like especially in this time when we see that like the technologies are rapidly developing, we like what separates us humans from like, I don't know, from AI or anything else is the, you know, like how AI can, I don't know, take different facts and output something, right? But then like if we just solely rely on that without being able to like without having expertise in various distinct fields, and do like what AI can do now on our own, we lose our competitive edge as humans to that AI. So like, I don't know, you might go like down that engineering road, right? But in the end, let's say that most of the maybe most of the things that engineers used to do like 50 years ago is now done by like automatically by technologies. But in the end, those like that set of skills that you learn by engaging, I don't know, by trying out different fields, like different I don't know, like disciplines, like those skills stay. So like, I don't know, maybe you won't make like, I don't know, you try like, I don't know, an acting class or something, right? And then like when you I don't know, like become a manager, right? Like those skills will still help you somehow, like to like advance your career. And you never know like when those skills will be of use, you know? and that's like also like something that I personally use as my life philosophy. You can put it because like how a bit like a circle detour, okay, but like how Steve Jobs took a calligraphy class
I know
in college, and then
yeah.
It was like I didn't know like what can I use it for, but then in the end that's how computers have like different fonts and stuff. So I feel like especially when we're young, it's really important to try different things because maybe you pursue engineering now because you think that's what you want, but did you actually try other fields? Maybe in the end, you want to do engineering, but then you try something else and you're like, oh, actually maybe I don't want to do mechanical engineering. I want to do this engineering.
Yeah, that's why my whole point is that liberal arts education is for people who want to try out things. You said maybe you are not sure if you're going to do engineering, but there are people who are sure that they don't want to do anything else than like become a doctor or become an engineer or become a pilot. So if you're someone who really wants to become a pilot, are you going to go to an aviation academy or are you going to go to a liberal arts college? So like if you know that like throughout your whole life you're just going to be a pilot or you want to become like an astronaut or something like that, I don't know. That's why my main point is that it shouldn't be a given that liberal arts education is the best form of education. It is for someone, it's not for other people. So you should choose your path yourself. If you feel like you still need to explore other fields and you want to have a more general knowledge in many different things, then it's a wonderful way to educate yourself more about it. But if you want to be like deeply involved in something extremely specific from a relatively young age, and you're 100% sure about that, then I don't think that a liberal arts college will be the best fit for you, and you'd be better fit going to like a college that specializes in something specific. So, as I said, my main point is we shouldn't try to sell the fact that, oh, you must go to a liberal arts college or you must get a liberal arts degree to be useful in the future. Because like everyone thinks about how their future is going to look like differently.
But like just asking, do you know like a lot of liberal arts colleges have joint programs with other universities, for example?
Like
I can find a specific example now. Okay, no. I think like, for example, if you go to Whitman for 2 years and you like pursue that engineering path, you can. I think it's 2+3 with Columbia.
I know, yeah. So yeah,
like,
no. As I said, if that's something you're interested in, then yeah, I feel like liberal arts education does have an edge in that sense. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a given that that's the best form of education that you can get, because of course it gives you more freedom to explore different subjects. And I feel like for most people, for most like adolescents, that's the better way to go. But it shouldn't be like a given. That's my main point, that it's the best form of education you need to get. If you're unsure about what you want to do in the future, then yes, a liberal arts education is going to be the better way for you to get educated. But if you're 100% sure, then go get involved in something more specific.
I mean, yeah, I get your point. I didn't really apply to any small liberal arts colleges myself, so...
No, yeah, they should be plan B, I think.
I don't think there should be plan B because, I actually think maybe I should have applied to a liberal arts college, honestly. But I just didn't want to go to a small college because I kind of figured out that's not what I want. I really want.
Many liberal arts colleges are small. They don't have the biggest research output. So in the future, if you wanna be someone who just like does a lot of research or works at like a prestigious lab and stuff like that, if you're 100% sure that you're going into the more specific field, then I don't think liberal arts colleges are going to be the best fit for you, because I'm just talking from the perspective of someone who plans to pursue engineering. There's literally no good engineering liberal arts colleges in America. Yeah. So if you're just applying to liberal arts colleges just for the purpose that for the reason that they provide financial aid, and then you're forced to study something you didn't initially apply for because they don't have the major you're interested in, I think that's like a problem that a lot of people encounter. So do your research, find out what universities are better in what you're interested in, and spend more time applying to those universities rather than just blindly choosing liberal arts colleges just because they provide financial aid and just because they have the liberal arts college.
Yeah, but
name.
like just saying that in a liberal art college, you can have a personal like relationship with your professor. Their name, they know your name. It's really easy to get good recommendation letters for grad school or like any career opportunities.
You can do that in regular colleges too.
Yeah, that's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, fair, but like that's like what I was told as
they're just
supposed
trying
be
to
like
sell
as a-
their
as a-
college to
as
you.
a benefit to me.
No, but I'm just reminding to you guys that liberal arts education isn't just liberal arts colleges, okay?
I know.
There are
Harvard is also a liberal arts college.
No, there are like different curriculums, and it's just what we're talking about is basically what most universities in the US provide. That's the type of
nearly
education.
all universities.
Yeah,
in
like
the
for
US.
example, in Europe, it's like a completely different thing. Here, it's a completely different thing. That's what we're talking
So
about.
it's
We're not
essentially
talking
a
about like a
question-
choice between a small college.
Yeah, it's essentially a question of like U.S. education or some other country's education.
Basically.
So yeah, it shouldn't be a fact that U.S. education is the best.
Yeah, obviously, but like everything you said, I agree with. But like, might I remind that even if you're gonna do research, even if you're gonna be like a super good, I don't know, scientist, IT, whatever other field you're interested in, you still need to relay your ideas. You
Yeah.
still need to share them with the world, with the boss, with whoever else. You still
The boss.
oh God. You still need to be able to like talk about it, pitch it, write about it, all of the things that you're not gonna know how to do if you don't get educated on it, especially some of the people who I was introduced to. Yeah.
And you actually need to know how to write properly.
Universities teach how to write, even if you're not doing a humanities degree.
Like not
all.
Not in simple sentences. Not like I don't know, 3 words period, 3 words period.
I mean,
you know?
there's a difference between
like all
freshman
introductory-
writing class where you just learn how to like do the most basic stuff and like actual professional writing. Like you will need to know how to do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like introductory writing classes put you at a point where you can construct a proper sentence when writing research. So if that's what you want to do, if you're not really interested in writing essays, then go for it.
No, I'm not talking about essays. I'm talking about papers. And I know because I took a freshman writing class. The level is not there.
I know.
Okay.
You don't know. You don't know yet.
I know. I know the level is not there.
Okay.
I took a freshman writing class too.
Jasmine, what do
So
you
I think the
think?
consensus that we can agree on is, of course,
Yeah.
it depends on a lot of things. Most important of which is what you're looking for specifically out of your what you want out of education and what you want out of college. But also, we can't deny the many benefits of liberal arts education.
Yeah, I never did.
Next, we have imposter syndrome and academic pressure. I think that's something that is a really a shared thing nowadays among youth in general. So, what is your unique take? What is your personal take on it, and when have you experienced that? If you do.
Okay.
Well, I feel like academic pressure, you could take it in a different way. You could take it as motivation to perform better academically. Because at the end of the day, you're applying to colleges and you need good academics. You can't just lie to yourself and be like, oh, I'm going to write such a banger essay that they're going to accept me despite the fact that I have a 3.2 GPA.
And then writes like, my dog died when I was 7.
When I was 7, I had a back-breaking injury in football, but I didn't give up.
Well,
Mapito,
that's not
Mapito.
going to get you an A in Calculus 1.
Yeah,
is it?
exactly. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to college to study. You're going to be taking classes. You need to maintain a proper GPA. So, I feel like you need to put academic pressure on yourself because why are we building that notion that academics aren't important at all? Yeah, maybe they're less important when applying to American colleges because they really value your personal story, your perspectives, your activities. And I feel like universities outside of America should take notes on that too. They should ask a few questions. They should ask a few essays. They should conduct interviews. They should ask for more activities to get to know people beyond their grades. But at the same time, we should not forget that academics are essentially the most important thing when you are applying to any university. in my opinion. So, yeah, you should still put some kind of academic pressure on yourself. You should challenge yourself academically. Take classes that are difficult and don't just limit yourself to the easier classes just to get good grades like some people do. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just talking in general.
Yeah, please.
I'm not. No. Yeah, and when it comes to imposter syndrome, I think I can definitely add to that. So, like, my first few weeks in college, I definitely had imposter syndrome because I felt like, even though I was someone who previously studied at, more or less international school, I still felt like, no, not in PS. I'm talking before PS. I still felt like everyone else around me had an easier time just connecting with people from different environments, while I was like just very eager to find out anyone else from a Central Asian or at least a post-Soviet country so that we could have something to talk about and have some similarities. So there was definitely a lot of imposter syndrome regarding cultural differences in the beginning. But then as soon as your pre-orientation season at university ends and you start going to classes, there's the other imposter syndrome of like, you look at people and it seems like everyone else is just more prepared than you because they know what clubs they're going to be applying for. Like, I'm just sitting, it's like my third week and people are already doing interviews for those like finance clubs at uni. It feels like everyone just had like a template of what their next 4 years are going to look like in the college. I'm going to do this, do that, take this, take that. And I'm just there like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't see a club that really interests me yet. So there was imposter syndrome regarding that in the beginning, regarding clubs. And then after your first semester, all you can hear about is what internships people are going to be applying for during the summer. And you're just sitting there like, aren't we guys freshmen? Should we apply to internships as freshmen? And they're like, yeah, dude, what are you talking about? The spots are filling up already. Did you apply to this research grant and this and that? And I'm like, guys, I haven't started my PSET yet, so I have no idea what you're talking about. So you'll just think that everyone else is doing better than you on the surface. But as soon as you get to know people closer, you'll understand that everyone is just in as big in a hole as you are. I want to say everyone is in as big of a shithole that you are. So you shouldn't really compare yourself to anyone. You have your own journey. Explore what you like. The university has everything to offer for your interests.
Like, you sound like you want to believe in it, but you don't believe in it, you know? Like, there was a bit of doubt.
You tell everyone you're fine, and you're not fine.
But like, no.
When you take off your mask.
But then I open the blend and I see the press reels that you like.
No, it's basically me and Gulrukh trying to tell you guys, the ones who haven't gone to college yet, that you shouldn't be crazy about internships as soon as you get there, or you shouldn't try applying to clubs which everyone else is applying to, or try get interviews or positions literally everywhere. Just do what you like. You're not forced to do anything. At the end of the day, your resume will include only 3 things that you do, and you're not going to put that newspaper club you wrote articles for.
And you know, like to start out with academic pressure, right? Well, like when I went to the Tech to the UWC, I picked the hardest courses that the school was offering, and then I usually you have to do like 3 courses at a high level.
And then you got humbled.
No, and I decided to do 4. I even wanted to take 5, but I wasn't allowed. And the coordinator she was like, "Are you crazy? Like, bro, like chill, you know." But then at PS, I would say the workload was not that tough, you know. Like, we would barely study, and I feel like everyone was just like passing with the highest grade
before actual A levels came.
Okay, I left before that, you know. I left before that, you know. And then I was like, 1 week into like 1 week in, 2 week in, nothing, right? And then out of nowhere, I get so much work. I'm like, how? Like, what am I supposed to do now? Yeah, and then okay, I got humbled at first, but then I got used to that workload, and I felt like I grew a lot as a person, and as a student. You can put it that way. And then the funny part was that this winter break, like when I already had zero motivation to lock in, right? I actually missed that academic pressure because I was like, I feel like something is missing, because I like that thrill that that something is hard, then I don't know, then I put in some work and then it becomes easy. Not that it's all I do in my life, but I feel like if we treat pressure in a positive way, like something that pushes us, it will actually help us grow. And I feel like part of it is allowing yourself to make mistakes. So again, as you've said, not prioritizing GPA fully, but rather taking courses that you're genuinely interested in, and maybe getting a lower grade on those courses. Then you actually grow, and okay, if I don't get that perfect GPA, it's totally fine, because I actually got those skills, right? And then you start treating pressure as not something that makes you feel worse, but something that actually pushes you to develop.
Yeah, let me be honest. If in college you don't choose classes that are actually difficult and you don't feel any pressure, you'll basically skip all your lectures. You'll get so, how to say?
You'll be stuck in this loop where you
No, you're not even stuck in the loop. You don't even care about the loop that you're stuck in. You're just I don't even care at this point. I got to the college. I'll somehow survive my finals, get a passing grade, and I'm good. So I feel like you should choose classes which still put you at a reasonable amount of pressure, not to get entitled, I'd say.
And about the imposter syndrome, I would just say that there's always a bigger fish in the sea, and there's always a smaller fish in the sea. So you need to be humble enough to understand that you're not
that fish.
the main character, right? You're not,
you are your own fish.
You are the main character in your story, but generally you're not the main character.
Especially when you go to college, because if you got into an Ivy or a good college, probably you were a good student in your high school. People knew you. You were famous. You're oh, I'm doing these things, those things. I'm very famous. I'm going to go to the college and I'm just going to be just as cool. But then you get there and you realize that everyone is at least as good and as talented as you are. Well, maybe there are people who are less and more. That doesn't really matter. You should just understand that you are not that special kid anymore. So you should just stay very humble.
Okay, I'll just add something. In regards to the academic pressure, I agree with most of the things you guys said, but I'm going to talk about a completely different thing. I don't mean to brag, but...
but at 16 I made my first million.
No, but
at 5 I was already
I always thought before college I was this is going to be really hard, I need to prepare, and so I came with an attitude that already allowed me to not really struggle with my academics. And I think the biggest struggle with the academics is not that I can't do it, but sometimes that I'm really lazy to even care about it. But if we put that aside, I was completely fine with everything. I had all the classes. I'm going to talk about a different type of pressure and a different type of imposter syndrome. I had a really hard time adapting to the lifestyle in the US. The way people conduct themselves, the way people make friends, the way people view basically all relationships that surround them, that was a little bit incomprehensible for me, especially in the beginning.
It's just different.
It's just very different. It's and I felt like a fool, like a clown sometimes, a little bit of I don't know, cringe of a person. For example, for me, it was completely normal to share things with my friends. I mean, the things that I have in my room. It was normal for me to ask for favors.
Yeah.
It was normal for me, if someone's late or doing something that wrong just to give them like a second chance. And then it was also normal for me to always share a little bit more about myself, like a little bit more of a personal stuff with people that I want to be friends with. But then I realized that's not the way it works in the US. A lot of the people that work both in the university and that just like live there, they are very professional, and they separate the professional relationships from the in-life relationships. Like, they're not going to give you many second chances. They're not going to be like gentle with you just because like you didn't know something. They're just going to require and demand. And I don't mean it necessarily as a bad thing, but it was hard for me to get used to it. And it was also hard for me to make friends in my freshman year, because a lot of my views would not overlap with other people's views, and the way I conducted myself with friends was too open and too much for a lot of people. So I just struggled with that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not necessarily the connotation isn't negative about the relationships and like with people and how you conduct yourself in the US. It's just that given how extremely different day-to-day relationships are in Uzbekistan compared to the US, it's just a huge culture shock that things there are more casual and, as Gulrukh said, more unapologetic. So people know how to keep things very professional from a very, very young age. So like they could be like 17, 18, 19, but like they already know how to maintain extremely professional connections. They don't get too involved in personal details. They are really used to that fast-paced life where it's just like they don't have time to build very close connections, perhaps, maybe. But it also depends on the kind of friends you make, the kind of friend groups you're hanging out with. Everyone is different. I wouldn't say there's like one big stereotype. It's just that overall, the whole vibe is slightly different. So if you're someone from a Central Asian region or like from a post-Soviet region applying to the US and planning to study there, you should just be a bit more attentive in the beginning. Try to recognize how people interact and then make decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Don't rush. Like, just pay attention for a month or two, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can I just add a little something? Apparently, it was also very normal to try to make friends in the beginning when you're a freshman, and then those friend groups just fall apart.
Yeah.
Like, this is just what happens to everyone. And I realized that over time, especially now that I'm going to be a junior, right? You just make friends in college, and those friends are going to probably be your lifelong friends, and you're going to know as time passes. So that's also fine.
Yeah, I was asking a lot of like our senior coordinators, like junior, seniors, asking whether the friends they made in like pre-orientation or like doing orientation in freshman year, if they're still friends with them. And most of them were saying, we don't even see each other anymore.
Yeah.
So it's very normal. Yeah, you travel to a different country and then you meet a couple people and they show some basic interest in you and you're like, finally, I made a friend. Like, of course, you're trying to make friends just to stay close to at least someone while you're tens of thousands of kilometers away from your home country, from your hometown friends. But you need to understand that not everyone has the same expectation as you do. Be more open to the perspective that the other person has, and just understand that you don't necessarily even need like a best friend in your freshman
Absolutely.
year. Yeah, you don't even need a best friend while in college, I'd say. Like, just have a friend group who you can do your homework with and maybe go out with during the weekends. And yeah, you'll be fine.
I don't even think like a friend group is the right word. It's just friendship can be so many different things, and the nature of that friendship changes from person to person. So I feel like everyone knows that another person has something to offer, and everyone kind of, I don't want to say use, but like benefits from those relationships in different ways.
Yeah, mutually beneficial.
Yeah,
so it's not a negative
it's not
way.
a bad thing. Absolutely not.
In general, like just to add on your point about early freshman groups. I feel like a lot of them just form based on the fact that you all just come to a new place.
Yeah.
And you like don't know anyone. So like I feel like most of those connections just form based on the fact that you two met each other.
Yeah,
at some
exactly.
point. So like it's just like a pure chance, right? But then as you actually get to know each other, you see that you don't have that much in common, maybe, or that you're not that compatible, and like that's why it falls apart. So you just and like there's nothing bad in it because I mean I've also gone through something quite similar, and I wish I knew that it's not.
Deep.
Like it's not that deep or like personal that it happens, and as you like go through your life further, you actually meet people who share your interests or like I don't know who you actually vibe with on a deeper level, and it's like it's all going to work out.
And I think that's another form of pressure too, because that was the original topic we were discussing. That like it's a almost like people view it as a requirement that once you get to college, you have to really boost your social
Life.
your openness, and, like,
Networking.
in 1 week, you have to make as many friends as you can, or else like you'll be lonely for the rest of your life, which is often like very, very, very false. The next topic we have is finding balance, study versus life. What does that mean to you, and how do we have that?
I don't think you asked the right person.
Why?
It's hard for me to find balance, really. Okay. Yeah, but it is very important. I feel like anyone who has like a schedule, and not in a way that's like, oh, I have an appointment at that time or this time, but like just a day-to-day routine, they have it easier at college, because for me that like I could never make a routine, but I'm pretty sure that if I did, it would get easier for me. And so the balance between my study and life often is very, very fragile, because at one point the only thing I'm doing is studying, because at the point before that, the only thing I was doing is basically living life, right? So obviously, I end up feeling exhausted. I end up feeling anxious because I study much more than needed, right? So I don't think I can add much more, but it is very important to have a routine, which I'm trying to achieve in the coming year. Yeah.
I think the best form of balance where you sacrifice the least amount of things but still maintain a good academic standing is basically this whole cliche notion of work hard, play hard. During the weekdays, just work your ass off as much as possible. Sit in the library, grind everything you can. Do your P-sets, do your essays. Don't leave anything until the last deadline. Very hypocritical coming from me, but I mean from all of us actually. But you have to do that because most of the fun stuff happens during the weekends. And it's not even during the weekend. You can afford to basically live life only one day of the weekend because, like, let's say Friday your classes end. Friday night people go out. Saturday people go out. And then Sunday people prepare for Monday. Like, they start their essays beforehand. They do their readings. They start their problem sets beforehand.
Laundry, cleaning.
Yeah, laundry, cleaning, everything like that. So basically you need to remember that you're not just studying, you're also living an adult life. You need to worry about the logistics of your room and stuff like that. So you have to maintain all of that. Don't sacrifice like the basic needs just because you have like a few more questions to do. I think the priority should be still like basic life needs because you're still living life. And also my biggest advice is no matter how cluttered your schedule is, no matter how much homework you have, never skip the big traditions at college. Like if there's a big game like Harvard, Yale, for example, that's like the only thing that can come to my mind right now.
Just give the luck day.
So like
workouts. That's
or
why
like
you go to college.
Yeah, like at Harvard also there's this thing called like River Run, or every college has its unique traditions, and even if they don't match your perspectives as someone from Uzbekistan, because they can be different. They can have ideologies that do not match yours or your views. I believe for you to make the most out of an American education, you still need to be open to everything, because you don't need to participate, but as long as you're there with friends looking at stuff other people are doing, you're definitely going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have stuff to talk about. So never sacrifice college traditions. Make sure you make the most out of college life. Go out, party. You don't necessarily have to do stuff you don't want to do. But just see the atmosphere, see the environment. Maybe now you think that you're someone who's not going to enjoy that, but at the end of the day, you might end up enjoying it. So there's no guilt in having some fun. You don't need to beat yourself up thinking that you just need to study all day long.
Have a hobby.
Yeah, have a
life.
hobby. Even at college, maintain a hobby.
No, hobbies are super important.
Yeah, and there's usually clubs which help you maintain those hobbies.
Yeah.
Just stay in that one club forever. Like, not forever, but like during your 4 years.
And now also you're going to be really passionate about it because you make friends, you have a community there, you're involved in all sorts of things there, and I think that's very cool.
Yeah, try to continue doing whatever you enjoy doing in high school at college, because the opportunities to do that are definitely going to be better at college compared to high school.
Yeah. Although I had a share of struggle with that as well in my freshman year, like applying to clubs.
Yeah.
It's funny, but most people don't know that in Uzbek admissions circles, I guess, right? But you have to actually apply to the club, and you have to go through a selection process.
You don't stop writing essays when you get into college.
Like the rate of acceptance in some of the clubs at unis, such as mine and I guess other people's at the table, is super low and ridiculous. Like I know people who got rejected, I don't know, from like women club or something like that.
Yeah. They're very cutthroat, like extremely cutthroat environment.
Yeah, but also there are chill clubs as well. Like, for example, we have an International Students Association at campus, and like they basically accept you.
They're chill.
Yeah.
And what specific clubs are you taking right now? Are you involved in any club activities?
Yes, I'm involved in 2 engineering clubs. I spend my time outside of classes in them, like a couple times a week. I'm not too involved in clubs because there are people who choose to be more involved in clubs than with academics, which is actually a crisis that is happening at Harvard right now. Basically, like the academic departments are complaining that students are more involved in clubs than they are in classes, and that people don't find classes interesting anymore. I'm right now more involved with classes than with clubs, but I want to build that balance where I'm involved in both. Like I wasn't really deeply involved in clubs in my freshman year. I didn't explore different clubs, so I want to do that in my sophomore year, but I'm not really beating myself up for it because in my freshman year, I justified by saying that, I had to get used to the different environment. I had to observe how things are done here and get used to the new academic format. And now that I'm more acquainted to like how things should happen, and that I have more experience, I feel like now I have the opportunity to explore more clubs. So you shouldn't have the expectation that, in freshman year, you must join 65 billion clubs, otherwise you're going to fall behind. It's not really like that. So everyone has their own pace.
Mm-hmm. And about that note that you mentioned about academics being a top priority, I do also agree with that. Because if you're going to college to grow, and you should set your priorities beforehand, like are you going there to grow in that aspect of like clubs and trying out different things, or are you going there to really balance all of them out efficiently to the point where you're not struggling academically and you're not like skipping lectures? Because it is a very vicious loop, like you skip one lecture and then
Well, it varies from person to person. Someone wants to build more professional skills, while someone tries building more academic and theoretical skills. Someone goes to college to just grow their network and takes like extremely easy classes to just stay afloat while actually just getting to know people. So it changes from person to person. There's no one right way, but I still feel like if we're given, like as students from Uzbekistan, looking at the perspective of an average student from Uzbekistan, we were given a chance to study at like a really prestigious university. We were given this crazy scholarship. So I think we should maintain at least a respectable GPA and not embarrass ourselves.
Yes, and that also plays into having that work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, I think it's the next topic is gap years and the culture of shame around them.
I didn't take any gap year.
I didn't take
I
a
think
gap
it's
year.
my time to shine.
I didn't take any gap years.
Yeah, come
No.
on, Jasmine. You go.
I personally have a very unique case because gap years in Uzbekistan are usually something that people do when they don't get into college or like when they want to try again. It's like that second, third, fourth shot that a lot of people take, and it's also a big risk, but people do acknowledge that. And I think we can all agree that there's a big culture of shame around them, specifically in Uzbekistan, where I think the shared belief is that your life is limited, so everything that you want to achieve, like achieve it by 25, achieve it as soon as possible, get your college education and everything. My personal take on it is I got admitted to college and then I took a gap year after getting admitted, and I've never regretted it for a single day. I think it depends more on whether or not you grew during that actual gap year, and having witnessed a lot of growth during my personal gap year, I think that it depends case to case.
And I think it's very normal, not just in the U.S., in the U.S. definitely, but also I observe it a lot among my peers or among other people who study with me in the same university. A lot of people either took gap years before coming or are taking gap years like in between their studies as well.
Yeah.
That's because some people also want to have time to do some other things. I don't know, work on projects or just like work on as some kind of an assistant, intern, or they just want to explore, or they want to travel, or they want to rethink some of their life decisions. Like it's much more of an acceptable thing over there. So I guess we're talking about like a problem in our own country. And yeah, definitely parents here think that if someone's taking gap year, they're a total failure, which I don't think any of us agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other notes? Comments on gap years?
I don't think we're fit to, right?
Yeah. I don't know anything about
Do you
gap years.
think during your college experience, do you expect to take at least a gap semester or gap year?
Definitely.
And why?
I feel like after sophomore or junior year, you'll just get overwhelmed from like the repetitiveness of college life. So taking a gap semester or a semester abroad to have a change of environment, a change of setting is really refreshing in my opinion. So I feel like a gap semester where I just come back to Uzbekistan and just spend a semester working on like a little project here or just chilling and relaxing. I think that's what colleges expect you to do. That's why they have the possibility, the opportunity for you to take a gap semester. So I don't think there's any stigma behind that. And I think that's something everyone should just do. Mm-hmm. It should be a norm at this point, like that after, let's say, sophomore year or after junior year, before your last year of college, just take like a gap semester and chill, relax.
I don't know about everyone, because like everyone has their own objectives and goals, but I personally am on a gap semester. Oh, not right now, but like I took a gap semester. So basically I was in Uzbekistan since like January, February. And for me, it was due to some health issues. It's not like I couldn't really deal with them in the US, but it would be harder while also studying. And I wouldn't have like enough time and resources on my hands, right? And here I got to do it in peace, and I don't regret it. I also got to take a break, just like Abdulaziz said, from like a repetitive college life. And it's been very good for me so far. I know some people that don't take any gaps like that. I know some people that do. So it's different.
And what I usually hear from like the older generations of people who also went to college is that like at the end of the day, when you're working at a certain place and you ask your colleagues, you're all relatively the same age, where like everyone took like at least a couple of gap years. So I don't think it's that big of an issue.
A lot of freshmen would be against the idea of taking gap years or gap semester because they're like, oh, but I want to graduate at the same time as my friends. But because they have that notion from high school, but in college, after freshman year, you're not going to be just hanging out with freshmen. Of course, in freshman year, you're probably going to be hanging out with just freshmen because most colleges are structured in a way that they make freshmen interact with each other much more. Like in my case, for example, all freshmen live in one area of the campus and they must live there. But after that, you end up taking classes where there are juniors, sophomores, people of any age, any like degree at college. So that thing doesn't exist anymore of like graduating at the same time as your friends. So you shouldn't even think about that. I think what I observed is like, it's a very cutthroat environment. If you stop studying for even one day, if you decide to give yourself a day break from any academics, you're already extremely behind from literally everything. Because you're going to try to catch up for something and then you're going to miss something. So as you mentioned before, it's just going to end up being an endless loop. So it's extremely cutthroat. It's extremely important to stay consistent no matter what is going on with your life. And you can't even afford to like get sick for a couple days because if you skip classes for a couple days, you're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to watch the recordings, but the recordings will never get watched, which is true. So just don't get sick. Don't skip classes. Don't skip any days.
I don't think it's to that extreme extent, in my honest opinion, but it's true that people do grind all the time. Like, for example, before finals, I barely can find a single available spot at a library.
Or a single energy drink in the vending machines.
Yeah, absolutely. And people grind in such ways that you're like, how do you exist? Because they're like beautiful, they're intelligent, they're in like 4 or 5 clubs. They're also having a social life, like a lot of fun. But at the same time, they're getting good grades and you see them at the library as well. And I understand that those people also, like, you don't see the hardships behind their lives, but it is true that people are ambitious at top unis. They study, they grind, they try to aim for stars, basically.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the myth that I was trying to convey was more that it generally consists of this like nerdy culture of total nerds.
It is a nerdy culture of total nerds.
Yeah.
Like, total
Everyone
nerds that
is a total
don't have,
nerd
like,
there.
Time for social, like,
Not like that.
I feel like there's just total. Well, I mean, I don't think you can call them nerds.
Like,
yeah. Everyone's extremely talented there. So like, it's a very big talent to be able to both like get amazing grades and be in a bunch of clubs and then have a social life. So I think those are the types of people that usually get admitted to like very prestigious colleges. And I think that's far more impressive than just studying and getting good grades.
Yeah. How do you guys expect your freshman year to go?
Yeah. And then we're going to break the expectations.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe corroborate them.
Yeah, like go on.
I honestly set the expectation for me that it is not going to be according to any expectations that I set. So for now, I just know that it's going to be very cluttered, that I'm going to spend a lot of time experimenting, that especially the first semester, I probably won't have time for anything that I have planned right now, like running or like specific events outside college, because I can already imagine that, like, especially like adapting to that new environment, to those new people, to that new academically pressuring environment too. It'll take a lot of adjusting to do. It won't be like, I'm not saying that it'll be like very hard to do, but it will still take a lot of effort and a lot of time to do. So I don't think I have any specific expectations set other than that it'll be harder.
I think it's vice versa. Your first semester is not super easy, but relatively
Freshman
easy.
fall is chill.
Yeah.
Freshman fall, you're going to take mostly chill classes. And then after
gonna
that,
have
you're going to be
time.
like, and you're probably going to end up with a somewhat okay GPA. And then you're going to be like, oh, I can definitely handle this. And then freshman spring, you're going to be like, I'm going to take slightly more difficult classes. But that slight more difficulty will bend you over and cut that.
That
Bend
difficulty will be you will sense it. Yeah. I just mean that in freshman, like first semester fall, you're going to have more time than after. Although, for me, my GPA was better in spring semester. I don't know how that happens, but like the general consensus is that.
I've heard that sophomore fall is where your GPA plummets because in your freshman year, you're taking mostly intro classes, not very related to your major. But then sophomore fall, suddenly, like the how they say it in Harvard is like you go from the 2-digit classes to the 3-digit classes, from like math 21 to math 123. And that's exactly where your GPA starts plummeting. So you have to be ready for that too. And I'm getting ready for that too. Maybe you could add more to that because I'm
No
rising
comments.
sophomore. So that corroborates my expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other expectations? How do you?
Oh, yeah, him.
Well, I guess I'll just try to take courses like that I find interesting and challenging. I don't really have a set expectation for GPA, but I kind of expect it to be above 3.5,
Yeah.
preferably.
That's chill.
And I'm going to work for it, of course. Apart from that, I'm quite open to, like, I don't actually have any expectations. I just want to, I just want to first see how it all goes. And then I would say, like, sometime in September or October, I will get that idea of, like, what I want to make out of my freshman year. But so far, I just want to go there with an open mind. Because I feel like whatever you think about the place before actually going to the place is not going to help you much. So I'm trying not to overthink it at this point.
Are you sure you're not going to become a finance bro who wears a Patagonia quarter zip?
I don't see Timur.
I might. Who knows? I might.
What are some expectations that you had about your freshman year that were wrecked?
Some expectations that I had was that, well, I didn't really think that I would have a culture shock. I was like, oh no, I'm chill like that. I can make friends with anyone. And even though with time I was, at the beginning it was still of like a culture shock for a few weeks, definitely. I really extremely valued individual friendships that I made, though I understood that was a mistake. Like, you should value them, but you shouldn't put too much weight on them, in my opinion. And then expectations in terms of academics. Well, the expectations I had were fulfilled. The academics are hard, and you just have to work a lot. I didn't really expect it to be like so consistency requiring, because I thought, oh, you skip 1 or 2 things and you're fine. But if you have a goal of maintaining a near perfect GPA, which I'm not saying everyone has that goal, but if you do, you cannot afford to skip anything, in my opinion. So set your expectations straight.
Let's not talk about GPA anymore, please. My expectation was that I'm gonna be involved in like so many clubs. I was like, I play the piano, I swim, I wrote in my high school newspaper, I do pre-law and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna do every single thing. Mm-hmm. And obviously I ended up doing just like 1 or 2 things on this list. So I didn't expect that I will have to prioritize a lot of things out there over things, and that I will have to sacrifice my certain interests or pursuits in order to just fit everything into my schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't expect I would need to use a Google Calendar.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I ended up needing to use one. So yeah.
I personally have this addiction to Google Calendar.
I still don't. And I should, like, everyone should build a habit of organizing their Gmail app as good as possible, add labels, add tags, flag important stuff, and then Google Calendar. As soon as even someone says, let's get lunch, you should open your phone and put that in your calendar.
Oh, the scariest app on my phone after my Bing app is obviously
Google Calendar.
Google Map. No, not Maps. Mail.
Calendar.
My mail.
Oh, mail.
Yeah.
Gmail app is so scary. I get so scared whenever I get a Gmail because I was like, I just don't know what to expect.
It could be a good thing.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. And then no. And then it could be something like, your grades are out. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
So, and then it could be like, your scholarship decision is out. And I'm like, no, please. No, don't release it yet.
Yeah.
But you should check your email every single day. You should organize your email. And you should learn how to use a Google Calendar properly. And for God's sake, start using a to-do list too. I still don't, and I regret it. And I will start very soon. It really helps you every single day to at least have somewhat of a vision of what you need to get done today. Because I didn't do that, and I was always like, oh, it's fine. My deadline for this PSET is Friday. And I used to forget the fact that I have 4 of these PSETs due Friday. And then Thursday would come, and I'm like, what do I do now? So I try rushing to office hours. Office hours are another really important topic.
Yeah.
Have them in your Google Calendar. Go to them, even if you don't have any questions. I'm saying this as a person who didn't go to any office hours.
I think it's a common freshman mistake, right?
Yeah, common freshman mistake is not valuing office hours, because the concept of office hours doesn't exist in Uzbek schools, but they do in a lot of American schools, actually. So we're just not used to them, but we should. It also helps build connections with the professors, because later, if you want to become a course assistant for a certain class, there are some classes where there's no formal application to become a course assistant. You just have to email the professor after the class is over and be like, yo, I want to become a course assistant, a CA, a TA for your class. And only if they know you personally, they're going to accept you to be their course assistant. And in the later, when you're applying for research grants, for internships, they always nearly require a letter of recommendation. And if you don't make like actual connections with the professor, they're just going to write a pretty general one because they don't know you that well. So yeah, go to office hours, in my opinion. They really help, especially with homework. If you're doing STEM classes, the problem sets are usually impossible to do on your own. So go to office hours, have a study group, and do everything together.
Okay. Thank you for that bit of advice. I think there were a lot of interesting topics that we discussed today. I think with one final round of tea, we can conclude this session.
Yeah, I don't think there's
we have
any
tea
left in my
Have tea.
teapot.
Did you
Yeah.
guys eat the plov? I feel like this side was eating more than.
No, the side was
No,
looking
that-
forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And now on this final note, then I think we can end this session and continue eating plov.